Hello, ladies. Thank you for being here today. Okay, today I am going to give you 5, I don't know necessarily say tips, but these are 5 things that you need to know when you want to lose weight. Weight loss is a frustrating journey. It's one that many of us find that we're constantly in, like we lose and gain the same 10 pounds over and over again, or we find ourselves being that black and white mentality all in. And then we get burned out and we fade out. And then another couple months, we're back on to being all in, and then we fade out. So these are the 5 things that you need to know about weight loss, that you need to put in your back pocket and hold on to as you go down your weight loss journey. And if you remember these things and you keep true to these things, weight loss can be a much easier game mentally to get through. Just reminding yourself of these things over and over again. So let's get into these 5 things you need to know about weight loss. Okay, number 1, when it comes to weight loss is hard. If you think weight loss is going to be an easy journey, it is not. It will test you physically, mentally. It's going to be one of the hardest things that you do. And the reason it's going to be hard is the consistency that is required in order for you to lose the weight. The mental changes that you have to make, the changes to habits, to lifestyle, to thought patterns, all of these things. It's not just eating less and moving more. There are so many components that go into weight loss. And if you're not willing to address all of these components, then you are going to struggle sustaining the weight loss. You might get some of it off. You may say you want to lose 20 pounds and you may get to 10 and then you find yourself really struggling. Or you lose your weight and then you find yourself 4 months later have put it all back on. Whatever that scenario that you find yourself in repeatedly looks like, you are most likely repeating it because you're not digging in and doing the hard work. You're not working on the mental fortitude, the willpower, the strength that it takes in order for you to be consistent and address all of the underlying factors that are going into your weight gain and working on those. So with my clients, when I'm working on them, we go slow with weight loss, and I do really comprehensive check-ins with my one-on-one clients so that I get an idea of what work stress looks like, what family stress looks like, their behaviors, their patterns, social life, all of these kind of things that come into play and are attributing to their weight gain. And we slowly start working on changing patterns and the way we approach situations and trying to make them realize the things that the patterns that they've gotten into that have gotten them to where they have got the weight on them and they don't feel good anymore. And that's hard. It's very hard work. I will say, saying no to a cookie is probably the least of the hard things that you're going to have to do. It's more when it comes down to mental battles that you fight and doing things out of ease and convenience and instant gratification versus making decisions on where you want to be long term. Number 2 is it will take longer than you think it's going to take. If you are looking to lose weight for a specific activity or event coming up, it needs to be a good 9 months to a year out from wherever you are. If it's, it's currently November when I'm recording this, and if you're wanting to do something by January, that's unrealistic, and you are going to put yourself into bad spaces or habits or patterns trying to quickly get the weight off, and then you're going to end up back in that cycle of putting the weight back on as soon as you've reached that event, because you slide right back into old patterns. You're not doing that hard work, that digging deep work that it takes to change thought patterns, behaviors, mindsets that have gotten you into the place where you've put on the weight. It's not just eating more, you're eating more and, not moving as much. That is part of it, but why are we eating more? Why aren't we moving like we should? There are underlying behaviors to all of those that if you're not addressing those types of things, as I talked about in point 1, sustainability of weight loss is going to be very, very hard. Number 3, this piggybacks right off of 1 and 2 as well. Slow weight loss equals sustainability. So working on losing the weight slowly, doing slow changes into your day-to-day, your habits, the patterns that you're in, making small changes over the week or over the month that allow you to get into new patterns, new thought behaviors, new habits that will help you with sustaining the weight loss. Because again, weight loss in and of itself isn't typically hard. It's the sustaining of the weight loss that most people struggle with. So you have to, as I've said in point 1 and point 2, do that groundwork. You have to lay those foundational pieces and start looking at different, or the way that you're approaching your lifestyle, or the things or the patterns that you've gotten yourself into that have gotten you into a point where you've put on weight, you don't feel good, or maybe your biomarkers are off. You know, you recently went to the doctor and your blood sugar's super high, your cholesterol's high. Maybe you're in your 40s and you're starting to feel some of those hormonal shifts, and those hormonal shifts are going to be greater if you do have more fat mass on your body, because in the fat tissue we hold more cytokines, which are inflammatory markers, which are going to exacerbate any of your menopause symptoms. So maybe you're having one of those, all of those, whatever it may be, but you have to start working on, like I'm saying, these foundational pieces, going slow, finding ways to make these new changes that are helping you to lose weight sustainable. They have to be things that you can keep up with. They have to be things that work inside of your home, with your family, with your work life, with your social life. So looking at how you approach those situations, making small tweaks to those situations to allow you to be successful and sustainable with your weight loss. Number 4, plateaus are normal in weight loss. And this is where most of you guys screw the pooch, is you go and you start losing weight and you get to a plateau, and then you think what you're doing is no longer working because you have plateaued. And you want to jump ship, you want to try a different program, you want to try a different approach, you want to try a different workout routine, you think you need to cut more calories, you think you need to exercise more, and that is the absolute worst thing that you can do. Consistency is key when it comes to weight loss. Plateaus are part of the process. You will plateau during the weight loss. In those periods, you need to be even more consistent than maybe you were before, but consistency is absolutely key. You keep doing what you're doing. You don't drop calories, you don't exercise more, you don't switch things up. You keep being consistent, and it may take 2 weeks. Sometimes it might take 3 weeks, but if you're consistent, you will see the numbers shift again. And this is why it's really important that you're taking progress measures outside of just the scale. You're doing measurements, you're looking at digestion, sleep quality, stress quality, your ability to, in your workouts, your energy, your mood, all of those kind of things are just as much of a progress marker as what the scale is. So maybe you've hit a plateau, the scale isn't moving, measurements aren't moving, but you're noticing more strength in your workouts. You're noticing more energy throughout the day. You don't have those 2 to 3 p.m. slumps. You're noticing your sleep is improving. All of those are signs that your body is improving, your overall health is improving. Stay consistent. That scale, those measurements, they will follow. But it can take a couple weeks sometimes, and that's completely normal. Don't jump ship. Don't switch things up. Be consistent. Okay, number 5, I saved this one for last because it is the least favorite of everybody's. But it's the truth, and whether you like it or not, or whether you think you can do it without this or not, it's just not the case. And for weight loss to be sustainable, you absolutely have to track your food at some point in your weight loss journey. And the whole purpose behind tracking is to learn food quality, to visually start learning what portion sizes look like of the food that you're eating. And why this is important, it's not only important for what we're eating at home in our weight loss journey, but this helps us when we go to parties, when we go to events, when we travel, so that when we go out to eat and we are served a plate of food, we can look at this plate of food and have a pretty good idea of the amount that we're consuming. And knowledge is power. When you know how much you're consuming and you're not just guesstimating, you tend to make a whole lot better decisions that will help you to reach your long-term goals or sustain the weight loss goals that you have met. So tracking, it's just a part of it. At some point in your weight loss journey, if you want your weight loss to be sustainable, you don't want to do all this work. This is, one of my favorite things to say to my clients is, let's do this once and be done. Get the weight off and be done. Get out of this perpetual dieting cycle. Women spend so much of our life dieting. It's absolutely absurd the number of years when you put it all together that we spend dieting. So learning food quality will make weight loss sustainable for you. Tracking also helps to identify some behavior patterns. When you have to be truthful with yourself and you have to be accountable with yourself, what you're actually sticking down that pie hole, it can be a big eye opener at behaviors and patterns and using food as comfort versus fuel. And the things are the ways that you find yourself reacting to different situations that you're going to food with. If you're honest with yourself and accountable and you track that food, it's a really good resource in that way as well as identifying behavior patterns. But the main thing behind tracking is learning food quality. Once you learn about quality, what you're eating, how it makes you feel, the results that you see from it, your digestion, your skin, your sleep, all of those kind of things, it becomes so much easier to sustain the weight loss because you know the food and you know how to go out to a restaurant and order foods that are enjoyable for you, but also are in line with what your health goals are. So those are my 5 things that you need to know when it comes to weight loss. Like I said, none of this is sexy, none of this is fun, but if you don't have the mindset of these 5 things going into weight loss, it's not going to work. It is not going to be successful. It's not going to be sustainable. You're just not going to succeed at it. You have to do that foundational groundwork when it comes to weight loss. You have to be willing to change habits. You have to be willing to make hard decisions. You have to be willing to be consistent with it. You have to be willing to go slow. It's just part of the process if you want it to be done, and like I said, it will take longer than you expect, but if you're looking for something super quick to get the weight off of you, 6 months down the road, you're going to be back in those same shoes looking for something quick to take that off of you. And that just wreaks metabolic hell on your body. And as you can see, women over the age of 40, it gets harder and harder and harder to lose that weight. We have other hormonal balances working against us at this point that are already lowering our overall calorie burn for the day. But if you continue to do this perpetual diet cycle on, off, you are just compounding those hormonal imbalances and you're just screwing the pooch, basically making it harder. So if you're ready to lose the weight, be ready to spend, depending upon how much weight you have to lose, but be ready to spend a good amount of time to do it and do it the correct way, and be open and willing to look at your behaviors and your habits and your thought patterns that are accompanying the weight gain in and of itself. So make sure you subscribe, hit the button down below. I appreciate you guys being here, and I will see you soon. Bye.